For over 100 years, Rotary members have taken action when challenges arise. We know what people can do when they come together and put others before themselves.
The team lead said they will continue the campaign to fight against the coronavirus.
Local Rotary clubs deliver food and supplies to people in need.
Strangers become friends, helping hands multiply, and problems turn into solutions. We are Rotary. We are people of action. Learn more at rotary.org/action.
Well, welcome to the Rotary Club meeting for August 25th, 2021. Everyone is beginning to dribble in the room, but we started because we have a guest and we don't want to hold him up. I hope that movie went out over the screen. I can never tell whether or not you saw that or not, but that was one of those Rotary People of Action videos, which are so good and tell so much of our story. So let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Steve, are you available to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I would be more than happy to. Good afternoon, everyone. Please join me in honoring the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Steve. And of course, I'm the president. My name is Raymond Foster. I'm the president of the San Dimas Rotary Club, and we're going to go around the wheel and talk to the spokes. And the first one I see is Mike Wallace's happy face.
How's it going? So I'm Mike Wallace. I am the president of Better Home Financial in downtown San Dimas. Been a Rotarian for 6.5 years. Happy to be here serving the community, past president. And it's good to see everyone.
Good to see you, Mike. And Carissa.
Hey everyone, Carissa Ferrari. I work at an insurance brokerage firm out of Pasadena. San Dimas resident and joined the Rotary this year.
Excellent. Diva.
Hi, I'm Diva Alfaro. I'm a 3-year Rotarian and past president. Happy to be here.
See, Tawainga, she made 2 meetings and we made her president, so that's good. Hey, Steve, say hello.
Hello, everyone. My name is Steve Scott. I am the current secretary of the club, past president, been a member for about 12 years, and I am a State Farm agent in San Dimas.
Excellent. And our visitor, I don't know, Angela's iPhone. Angela.
Hi, I'm Angela, and I'm a guest. I'm a good friend of Tawainga. He invited me to join you and also hear his presentation. And
excellent.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure that people will be joining us throughout the beginning of the meeting. You know, the first part is about a quick president's comments. I want to talk about, can you see my screen there? Shake your head, someone, if you can definitely see that, because it always bothers me. Excellent. So, you know, this weekend we started here. And this is the Crossroads location. This is a transition. This is the rear yard of a craftsman style home with a duplex on the lot that houses formerly incarcerated women in the city of Pomona through the program of Crossroads. And we started with that. That's essentially what the backyard looked like. Well, we brought this to it. Not only did we bring all of these supplies, but at the same time, we rallied community support. We had 7 groups that worked with us: the San Dimas Rotary Club, the Claremont Rotary Club, the San Dimas Masonic Lodge, the Claremont High School Interact Club, the Crossroads Boards, and 2 different churches. And we marshaled, we raised over $1,250, $1,000 in a grant from the Home Depot, $250 from the San Dimas Masonic Lodge, and we put 228 volunteer hours into the location, and we ended up with this. A brand new fence along one side, the fence completely painted, the yard cleared out and cleaned up, many bags of debris, and we painted that patio very nicely. And I'll tell you, we didn't bring money. We didn't really bring labor to this. What we brought was vision, and we brought leadership, and we took the community, and we just had a great project. So thank you to everyone who participated and worked with us on this. We sincerely appreciate it, and a job well done to everybody. So thank you very much for your work this week.
Thanks to you, Raymond.
Well, Thank you, Marianne. Everyone participated in that, and we all did a great job. Every one of our club members, every one of our Rotarians participated, and I thought that was the best part. So let's get on to our speaker. We like to get them in very early so they have the most time. Dr. Tawainga Kasvario. I was pretty close with that, wasn't I?
That was actually right.
Is a consultant, project manager, and strategist on a wide range of projects where he works with small startup companies to high asset and publicly traded companies. He is widely recognized for his dedication to K-12 STEM education. Dr. Kasvario has appeared on TV and in newspapers and magazines as an expert in renewable energy, and economy, and environmental conservation. He is recognized in the science world for his research on perennial grasses. He is extensively published in the scientific arena on agricultural and environmental topics, where some of his research has been designated as exemplary scholarly work. Dr. Kasvario is also a music composer who has written beautiful and lyrical music and dances for a wide range of instrumentation. His compositions include music for wind symphony, swing band, solo piano, piano duo, flute, and songs. Currently, he's writing a novel based on a true story. Dr. Kasvario earned a Master of Science from Michigan State University and a PhD from Cornell University. He is a former board member of the Tallahassee Symphony Society, where he is a recipient of the Donna O'Mara Award, board member for the Tallahassee Music Guild, and a Rotarian. So we can make you president. You've already been a Rotarian. Welcome to the Rotary Club of San Dimas.
Thank you, and thank you for the introduction. Can you all hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. I am going to walk you through a lot of slides very quickly. And today we're talking about Haiti at a time in Haiti's history when their president has been assassinated. They have just gone through an earthquake and 2 tropical storms. We are a 501c3 organization based out of Tallahassee, Florida. And our motto is, we believe soil erosion in Haiti and elsewhere in the world will become a story of the past. I loved how someone just complimented the president here for vision. And what we're looking for in helping Haiti is that vision and leadership. We are officially registered as a 501c3 organization in Haiti, just like Red Cross and all those other organizations. Where do you think these pictures are from? There's another one, there's another one, there's another one. And believe it or not, these are pictures from Haiti. Like anywhere else in the world, Haiti has the rich places and the poor places. There are people who have gone here and gone in Haiti and never saw the rest of Haiti, and all they saw was this part. We gave this presentation to college students, and whenever I give a presentation, I always tell them about the brand that helped to eradicate polio. In much the same way as Rotarians made that possible, we also believe Rotarians can also help to end soil erosion and land degradation in Haiti. In the past, we have actually helped plant trees in Haiti, and this project started as a community project, fundraiser in the fish fry here in Tallahassee, and these are some of the community members who helped to get the project off the ground. And today, the same community members are also still the largest supporters of the project. We have formed partnerships with numerous organizations, including universities, faith-based organizations, private companies, Rotary, of course, as you can see. The project is also mostly funded by individual Rotary clubs, and on this and under one Rotary district as well. On this list here are some of the Rotary clubs which have funded the project over the years. We have been planting grass for the past 3 years now. The project has actually won a few awards. We were recognized as one of the success community stories to end hunger by the University of Missouri. Florida State University are perhaps the backbone of the project, as I often say, because they provide a lot of the labor, the logistics, students and the faculty work very much hard on this project. We have an active social media page, so please visit our social medias. This image has perhaps been shown several times about the difference between Haiti and Dominican Republic. You see trees on the side of Dominican Republic and less trees on the Haitian side. The reason being, it is said Dominican Republic subsidizes propane while Haitians rely on firewood for cooking. You want to keep in mind that on average, families in Haiti live on $2.50 per day per family. That's very little money. And they use a lot of the trees for charcoal and for cooking purposes. When you see bare ground like this, this is actually the recipe for disaster. And you will see why we say soil erosion paralyzes the economy in Haiti. And there's another picture of the difference between Haiti and Dominican Republic. Soil erosion in Haiti is also caused by farming on steep slopes. On average, most of the land in Haiti is at a slope in one way or the other. Here's a little bit of the history of Haiti. Haiti has always been in debt ever since they got their independence. When Haiti got independence from France, France demanded that Haiti pays the equivalent of $21 billion for the loss of its slaves and slave colony. So as you can see, Haiti has always been at that disadvantaged position. That debt was only paid in 1947. This is what you see after a hurricane in Haiti. The world does very well and goes to support, much deserved support the Haitians need. But our challenge to you and everybody is, could we actually take preventative measures to reduce this impact? These mudslides here are caused by the erosion, which I showed earlier on the mountain slopes. If those soils are held in place and stabilized, that would reduce this impact here. It is prudent to go and take preventative measures because they actually save money and be prepared of it. They will reduce spread of diseases and all that. Already I sort of haunt you by showing a little grass in the background of this. This is what rivers look like after a hurricane in Haiti. What you see is topsoil. Several questions come to mind. Where is this coming from? It's coming from the mountains where it's much needed. Where is it going? It's going to the ocean where it's not needed. Topsoil takes hundreds of years to form, and they are losing this topsoil. I've often described this as a crime scene. Again, there's another picture of that. These floods could be reduced if the mountain slopes are stabilized and there is vegetation on the ground. More pictures. These pictures were once upon a time tropical rainforests, and this is what they look like today. That erosion pollutes the seas, it affects fisheries, it renders dams ineffective because sediments are deposited in the dams. It clogs irrigation canals. See the soils here? This is gold where it's needed, but it's clogging irrigation canals. It affects biodiversity. When you have barren lands, you lose your biodiversity. Haiti has some of the most unique species, some found only in Haiti. You might say it's only a Haitian problem, but migratory birds from the US will go to the Hispaniola in winter. So if we provide habitats, it's also in our interest to provide habitats for the birds which come from the US. Haiti has a lot of riots very frequently. One of the causes of the riots are land degradation and environmental degradation. He wrote an article for Homeland Security in how curbing erosion could help with national security in Haiti. This was once upon a time a huge river. This is a satellite image. As you can see, is actually turned into a trickle. If you take a closer look, these are actually huge mountain sides, and you can see they're all barren. These are the surfaces which we work with in Haiti. We go to these surfaces and start planting the grasses. Take a look at these little isolated trees here, and later I will show you how they will recover once the area around them has been improved. And here's a people ready to work. So I showed you the problems which we have in Haiti as all this. And the question I'll say to you, is it worth solving or is it too late? And is there actually a solution which addresses all these problems simultaneously? And that is why we come up with planting deep-rooted perennial grasses. Why do we advocate for grasses? Because they will not be harvested as charcoal. Probably where you are as well, in California, you barely see bare ground because you quickly plant grasses. And the same can be done in Haiti. Grasses will protect drinking water, they reduce the mudslides, they protect the oceans, and grasses have protected soils for thousands of years. They build soils for better agriculture. What also makes grasses unique is they have deep roots. So there is much more underground than you see, which is what holds the soil in place and also helps to recycle nutrients. We are planting different types of grasses. All these grasses are tropical. They survive fires, they have levels of drought and heat tolerance. And there are some of the names. First thing we did was plant around houses because we had noticed that they have rocks around houses to protect the foundation of the homes. And this is what they look like. When villagers saw this, they too wanted their villages to look like this and plant around houses. And before long, we were flooded with villagers wanting to plant grasses on their houses. We just didn't have enough resources to funding to help all the villagers plant around their houses. We educate schools, we plant around churches, and we meet with community leaders. We also make the planting part of the formal education process and teach about it in classrooms. We then have students go and plant out on the fields as well. Nothing which is as strong as actually teaching the students because they are the future leaders of Haiti. The beginning wasn't always successful. We were planting seeds on the mountain slopes, and the seeds were washed down. It was discouraging and disheartening. And they were either washed down or buried too deep. And we then changed approach and decided to plant the grasses in nurseries. As you can see here, people building nurseries. And keep an eye on the tree trunk here because you will see how the grass develops from the nurseries. This is the grass in the nursery. You recall that tree trunk which had real attention. The grass will grow from here to this much in 3 months. And this is the grass in the nurseries ready for transplanting. A lot of Rotarians and sometimes individuals have actually contributed towards these nurseries, and sometimes nations have actually named nurseries after the individuals who have contributed. In this case, this nursery was named after Chet, who is with the Rotary Club of Sanibel. We then take the grass from the nurseries and we go to the mountains. These are the eroded mountains. And you can see people planting. This is the grass here, which they are planting on the mountains. A lot of the people come out and plant. Now, sometimes the agents in this, why this is very important is, sometimes the topsoil has been lost and you end up planting into subsoil. Planting subsoil can be difficult because the pH is wrong and many other challenges. That is also the reason why we call for agents in this. This community here, where I was aware that erosion from this was affecting the river, and they planted the grass to protect their river. That's, again, this is what the barren lands look like, and they could turn into this. This is a complicated slide, but basically what the slide is saying, in some places in Haiti, when they sink for boreholes, they are coming up with salt water, which is a serious problem. That's because there is not enough vegetation to slow down water flow on the surface and allow fresh water to fill in the aquifers, which is also a solution we solve with our grant planting operations. Here is what the grass looks like on the mountain slides as they plant it. More pictures of planting. You see, this is the grass here which they planted. And more pictures planting. Now, we pay these people a nominal payment of $7 a day. I mean, $7 a day. In the past, we used to pay them $5 a day plus a meal, but we stopped giving meals because of COVID. Now, $7 a day is very minimal. That's about the equivalent of the cocktails which we buy in the US. With that, the people are able to help restore the environment and also feed their families and send their children to schools. On the mountains, we go from this to this to this in one season. Why is this possible to achieve this in one season? Haiti has a lot of high rainfall, and we also give the grass fertilizer. Keep an eye on this part here. As you can see, the community planting, the second part, the community planting around all this eroded area, the community planted. At the end of the rain season, the area looks like this. Now, when villagers see this, they were excited about it, and soon the leaders who lead this, they have villagers following them at home and at night, asking to plant in their villages as well. That grass survives the dry period and looks like this is the beginning of the next season. So you can only tell it only grew even more the next season. Remember, we talked about erosion on the mountain sides. We also encourage farmers to plant the grass in contours. And this is me in the US giving instructions on how to plant in around contours. And I'm going to show you a lot of pictures before, and this is a year after. Before, a year after. These grasses were once upon a time barren lands. All this. Now, the grass produces seed and self-disperses to plant other areas as well. The seeds also form as feed for birds and livestock. They harvest the grasses and give to their livestock and also sell the grass, creating that sustainability aspect. We think this story can be a story of the past. We have also given bamboo to nest families to plant around their homes because we found that they cut the trees for fencing, and bamboo is fast growing and can be used for fencing. Remember, I said that we want to protect biodiversity. Well, in addition to just fencing with bamboo, we are encouraging live fencing with flowering plants. In the case, this is hibiscus. The farmer here had just an ordinary fence, which you can still see here, but planted hibiscus for the live fencing. We encourage a lot of female leadership in this project. One of the things you have all probably heard about is how money is mismanaged in Haiti. We get around this by using social media. All the villagers and everybody working on the project, they are on WhatsApp groups. So they all know how much money has been sent and who is it paying. Likewise, they can tell us and they send pictures. We have hundreds of pictures because everyone with a cell phone is free to send us the pictures. There are millions of acres on Haiti of degraded lands, and we can plant all those to grasses. We can go from here to here. And what we're looking for are resources, including Rotarians. In Haiti, we have partnership with Rotary clubs, the Ministry of Agriculture, with priests, with universities, and with agronomists in Haiti. This community wanted to plant to protect their telephone tower. And you see them planting. And at the end of the rain season, it all looked like this. This is one site which we would like to start working on. You can see the silt going from here and ending up in the ocean. And we had just completed a 21 acre in this area, which is very close to that same site. That area which I showed you looks like this. It's frail and soil here is so loose and does not stand a chance with heavy tropical rainforest. It's sad to say all this ends up in the ocean. Remember what I said, the cost for this, for correcting this, is $7 of our cocktails in the US. More pictures from there, and you can see people already starting to work on that. The city called St. Mark. The city itself is very small here, but look at this barren land around it, and all this could be planted to grasses, and we already showed this could be done. Another city called Gonaïve, small city here. Look at this barren land around it, and this could be planted into grasses. We initially started by saying that this was Haiti once upon a time. That's the problem, and this is what it looks like. Our intervention point was here. By planting grasses, we hoped to get to here and eventually get there. Our initial plans were, after maybe 4 years of grasses, we would plant trees. But voila, the locals beat us to it. They went into the areas, they were so excited about seeing the grasses. They went into the areas and started planting trees. So already some of the areas which we looked like, or planted earlier on, they already look like this. It also amazed me by how quickly nature recovers as well. My closing remarks for this is, and now Rotarians get the work done. We would encourage you to help tell more people. Let us know where we can also present to. This project here fits with many areas of Rotary interests, including water, environment, education, and poverty. We think this is one of the most important projects in the 21st century, and the solution is fairly simple. And for that, I will stop and pause for questions. Thank you.
Well, that was a fabulous, extraordinarily interesting presentation. I'll open it up for questions. Anyone have a question? I've got a couple of questions. You know, I lived in Jamaica for about a year. I'm very familiar with the soil erosion and what it does to the water, because you see that during the rains, the water just flushes everything down. Are they also building culverts and water diversion things that go along with that, or is the soil erosion the major problem?
Haiti has a lot of challenges. Soil erosion is fairly low in the priority list. Right now, it is said 40% of the population in Haiti is in need of food aid. So that becomes the main priority. Erosion is a little bit of a tricky situation because you don't really see the loss immediately. Mm-hmm. And Haiti probably does not have as much resources to address erosion issues.
And how do you raise funds for this?
Making presentation to Rotary clubs.
Nice.
And going to churches and individuals. That's, yeah, it's not been easy. A lot of organizations in the US are very much mission oriented, and they are focused in the US. There are very few organizations which give funding outside. Now, for the few organizations which fund outside, they also have the higher priorities. They are the ones who are addressing hunger and issues about health. So the environment, I'm sad to say, is very low on most organizations' priorities. This is in spite of the fact that environment itself is the root cause of most of those problems.
Of the money that's collected by you, what percentage goes directly to the people at $7 a day, and how much goes to buying grass seed and that kind of thing?
Of the money that is collected, we have very little to low overheads. That's because even things such as our office space in Tallahassee, that's all donated by one of the donors. Most of the work and the logistics in the US are handled by FSU Florida State University students. So pretty much most of the money which we get goes straight to helping the Haitians. And once in Haiti, a big part of the money, maybe more than 50% of money goes towards buying the grass and the fertilizers. We have also started establishing our own the program, establishing its own nurseries. So in the future, we will be buying less grass because we have established its own nurseries.
What's generally the cost to establish a nursery?
That's a good question. The cost of planting in Haiti so far an acre is about $200 an acre. And this is including all those things like buying the grass, paying the people who are doing it. And I'll be happy to send you a breakdown of the entire thing. We are very open, transparent with all the numbers which we have. I'll be happy to send that to you as an email. Did
you say $200 an acre?
Correct.
And that covers the labor, the grass, all the overhead, and an acre of land.
That's so far, that's what we're looking at, yes.
Okay. Sign me up for an acre.
All right.
That's a no-brainer. If you can do $200 an acre, that's a no-brainer. An acre of grassland.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, I'll match that, and I'll do an acre as well.
Hooray!
All right, cool. And I would like to. We're going to archive this on YouTube. I'm going to share this with our international chair. We're in the fundraising process, and we've picked another. We're kind of settling on another international project, but at such a low cost and a big gain.
Correct.
We'll see what we can do. I think we should take a really good look at this with the entire club. I really like this idea.
Well, thank you so much. And again, I'll be happy to send you more pictures and reports and updates on all those. I'm happy to do that.
Do me a favor, sit down and think about at some point. Here's what I'd like to do. Sit down and think about a nursery. What does a nursery cost? Because if I could fundraise for the San Dimas nursery in Haiti, don't you think, Mike, we could probably pull some money into that? A nursery for grass that was funded by the community here in San Dimas. That would be fantastic. So I've got your email. Send me information on how Mike and I get some money to you. And then also let's keep this line of communication open to talk about the idea of a nursery, because I really like that idea. I do. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question. I know you said the biggest problem and the majority of the resources are going toward hunger in Haiti. I mean, is there a way to incorporate these two things where instead of planting grass to grab onto the soil, that there's a way to line in food and to alleviate the hunger of something that would also keep the soil from being eroded?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. So one of the things which we have started doing is those slopes, those mountain slopes, is planting in contours around the mountain slope, and in between planting crops. So you have a hedge of grass to stop the erosion. In between, we plant crops there. Those are some of the things which we are doing now. Yeah.
Very cool. Other questions? Well, that's a fantastic presentation, which we are definitely going to share. It will be on our community television station here at least 4 times, and we'll put it up on our social media. And then we're gonna continue this conversation because I really like the idea. Having lived there, I understand completely. I lived there just after the big earthquake about 10 years ago. So I'm very familiar with the problems right in that area. So thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you all.
You're welcome. You know what? I'm going to skip the fine master because we just all of a sudden find ourselves $400. So I'm going to skip the fine master today. Seems like we've already done that job. I'd like to talk quickly about Action 360, just to let you know, Making Spirits Bright. That is the project to fund Christmas gifts for Marine Corps personnel at 29 Palms and Camp Pendleton. There are 2 major events attached to that. One of them is a hockey game, the other a charity hockey game. There will be a committee meeting this Saturday at 11 a.m. via Zoom, and we'll have the charity hockey team there and all the principals involved in pulling this together. That will be at the Toyota Arena, and that's a 10,000 seat arena. Also, in conjunction with that, our major fundraiser for this year is the raffle. Two big things happen with the raffle. Number one is the tickets come tomorrow, 10,000 of them. And the next thing is Steve Scott, who's had to bounce off for a meeting. He has gotten through the state bureaucracy, got everything all arranged and cleared up. We should have the State Department of Justice okay for the raffle within probably 7 to 10 days, which means we can begin to launch with our other community organizations. And since you're still on here, Tawainga, we have a raffle. It's a $6,800 travel voucher for anywhere in the world, over 450 vacations in 70 countries. And what we're doing is we're doing two things. The tickets are $5, and we partner with any community organization that wants to sell tickets, and we split it 50-50. So if you sell 100 tickets, you get 250 and we get 250. The other thing we do for Rotary clubs, and you're a Rotarian, we sell the tickets to Rotary clubs for $1. And so you buy 100 and you have to buy a minimum of 100. So they buy 100 tickets. They sell those 100 tickets at the face value of $5, they make $400. And so we work with Rotary clubs and community organizations, and we're very, very successful by splitting the profits. And we take a very small amount of it. So if your Rotary club is interested, you've got my email. 100 tickets, you can make $400 and a $5 travel voucher. The drawing is in December 7th. So we have 3 months to sell tickets. And we're looking at major venues. The other thing that Rotary clubs are doing, they're buying them from us for $1, and then they're going to, like we're using a local university athletic program, and they're saying, well, we'll split the $4 with you. So the Rotary clubs are involving other community groups and making even more money for their stuff. So that's looking good. The other event tied to this is the United States Marine Corps birthday dinner spaghetti feed. There will be a committee meeting on Tuesday, August 31st. That involves the lodges. The San Dimas Masonic Lodge has donated the location, the food, the cooks. The Young Marines have donated the servers. The YMCA is finding the keynote speaker. That is coming together. We want to finalize everything. I have a reminder here that the District Peace Conference is taking off very shortly. I believe it's in October. We have already sent our contribution to that. We have Davidson on the line. Davidson is our sister Rotary Club in Kenya, and that is very cool that he's here. He sent me a project. We're mentoring them in this sister club relationship. So I sent them our Crossroads Synopsis project proposal, and they very quickly took the bit, and they sent us back a proposal, which was to provide apparently the Rotary Club in Kenya, and I don't want to. It's Bungama Ulan is on the border of Uganda. It's extraordinarily rural, but he sent me a spreadsheet of all their students who are going on to university. And what we want to do is we're looking at a project to provide the top 100 students with a laptop computer. Now, I talked to Derek, who's our international service chair, and his eyes lit up. So we're going to work on this. And that project would cost us about $6,500, maybe $7,000. But the thing is, that's only 1,200 raffle tickets, man. That's a piece of cake if we can get this going. So Derek is excited. We're going to continue the conversation with Davidson. That looks like it may be our international service chair, which we already committed $1,000 to that project. So in reality, we're only going to raise $5,000 or $6,000. So that looks really good. I will be meeting with them and going to their Rotary Club meetings, which occur around 4 o'clock in the morning our time. And he's coming to our meeting. So we got this great sister club relationship going I'm very excited about. And we may just have a great international service project. It's still preliminary, but I did like everything about it. Anything you want to say, Davidson?
Yes, Mr. President Ray.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Hello. For us in Kenya, East Africa, it is a late evening. It's about 11 p.m. And in fact, I'm just already on my bed waiting for sleep as I listen to you guys. So I'm happy to join all of you. And I'm also happy to listen to our brother, our friend from Haiti. Yes, and meet all of you and learn from what you are doing. So we look forward to the project. Yeah, thank you, President Ray.
Well, we'll get this all going, and that's really cool. I think, Tawainga, you're in Florida, correct? You're down there?
I am in Florida, yes.
You're in Florida, we're in California, he's in Kenya. I'll tell you what, Zoom has opened up the world for our Rotary Club. We have a great time with it. Okay, so last bit is to go over the calendar. I'm going to share the calendar screen. Got calendar 4-way test, and we can end the meeting. Okay, so next week will be, our speaker will be Hope for Homes, which is on homelessness, and that's going to be Volunteers of America going to come and talk specifically about homelessness in the San Dimas, Claremont, and Pomona area. I've noticed in San Dimas, as I know all of you have, there has been an increase in homelessness. And so they have some solutions, and we'd really like to hear what they are and how we can help. After that, we have TCB Global Micro Grants will be making a presentation. And by the way, we are lining up Fast Craft Talks, and that's looking good too. And then I just want to remind you to set the date aside of September 29th. That will be our club assembly. We meet quarterly in person, and that will be at the City Hall. And Emmett Badar, our mayor, will be the keynote speaker for that event. And of course, we got the committee meetings coming up for the major projects. And lastly, so much thank you, Mike, helping me shop, and Marianne was there all 4 days, working and working and working. Every club member, every Rotarian, there's one guy who's a club member, but the school district pays the freight. So, but every Rotarian, every club member was there and painted. And I'll tell you at one point, Mike, you weren't there, but on the Saturday, we knocked the damn fence over. The posts were rotten out, and we knocked the fence over. And because we knocked the fence over, we had to go back to the hardware store and pick up 4x4s and bags of cement. And we replanted the posts and 2x4s, and we actually rebuilt about 20 feet of the fence. But I got to tell you, we had saws and hammers. It was like an old-fashioned barn raising. So we had a really good time, and we did very good work, and everyone was very, very grateful for that. Last thing before we go is the 4-way test, which I'm going to put up on the screen here. If you haven't guessed, by the way, not only am I president, but apparently I'm Zoom master also.
Which you do well.
Thank you very much. So listen, here's the 4-way test. The things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Here's what I want to say about the 4-way test this week. The 4-way test is an acknowledgement of how complex human relations are. To have an ethical test that just said, well, is it the right thing to do? Is it going to help everybody? Is it beneficial? Is it just? It doesn't. That would not address the complexities of human relationships. And so the fact that we're able to get together and to work as brothers and sisters, even though we have all of this complex stuff going on, is partially a testament to the 4-way test. And I appreciate that every one of our members, in my dealings with them, uses this test clearly in their business dealings, in their personal lives, and as Rotarians. So that's my comment on the 4-way test for today. Our meeting is just about over. Any final comments? And our first speaker from Florida, anything you'd like to say before we go?
No, I said, thank you very much. It was a great presentation for me. I ended up with $400. I look forward to working with you all.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll keep it communication, see if we do more than that. Mike, anything you want to say? I'm going to add, I want Mike's acre to be named, though. I don't know what it's going to be named.
Oh, you tell us, we will name it as you say.
Thank you very much. All right, everybody. That is the end of the day. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Raymond?
Yes.
Raymond? Okay.